Hello aspirants, I welcome you all to Daily Current Affairs Analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 22nd of July 2025. Displayed here are the list of articles that we are going to discuss today. In this first article, we'll be discussing in detail about the basics of Central Bureau Investigation, CBI. Second article, we'll be discussing about the difference between the solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. Third article, we'll be discussing about a new AI for child education. Fourth article, we'll be discussing about cryptocurrencies and how it actually works. And in the fifth article, we'll be discussing about Indian provincial services. So without any delay, we shall get into the first news article discussion. Now look at this news article. This news article talks about a security breach that happened in a very popular cryptocurrency exchange named CoinDCX. So from the prelims perspective, we have to learn about what is meant by cryptocurrency and how it actually works. So let us start with what is cryptocurrency. See, cryptocurrency is nothing but a digital form of currency that has been created by the people and it is owned by the people. So the main idea of it is to surpass the central authority. So if you take any particular country, there will be a central bank that will hold the amount of money that are needed to be circulated in the economy. So instead of giving that power to the central authority, people itself will hold that power. Now we have to learn about how it actually works. It works based on cryptography and it operates over a decentralized network, which is nothing but blockchain technology. We'll say about what is this blockchain technology in a slide later. There are a lot of examples for cryptocurrencies recently. A very good example is this Bitcoin and Ethereum, and there are a lot of cryptocurrencies available in the market. Now moving on, we have to see what is blockchain. See, blockchain is like a ledger. So it is like a record book, but it is digital in format. So this record book, it will actually take note of all the transactions that has been taking place. And this particular transaction, it will be linked to each block. For example, if a person is raising a particular request, then a block will be created for that particular transaction. So this block, it will be sent to every nodes where the cryptocurrency or the blockchain technology is active. So it is actually a automated automated process. Sending the request is manual, but the process that happens behind is actually done by this blockchain technology. So sending this request is done automatically, and verifying all the credentials, it is done automatically. So once the verification is actually done, the block is added to the existing cryptocurrency, and this information will again be distributed to every other nodes. And this is the reason why once the data is recorded, it is immutable, meaning it is unchangeable. So we can even change it, but what happens is without the knowledge of system, we cannot do it. So if you are going to change any particular transaction, every node linked to this particular blockchain will know that particular change. So what this gives us, it ensures security, transaction and trust. So this is how the blockchain technology actually works. Now moving on, we have to see key features of these cryptocurrency as well as how the blockchain technology works. These points are actually asked in the UPSC preliminary examination. That is why I have listed here. First thing is, it is decentralized in nature. No central authority is there. Secondly, everything is encrypted and secured in the form of blocks. Thirdly, it is available only in the digital format. Fourthly, any particular person in the world can participate. It has global reach. And finally, it has only limited supply. Because the mining process of the cryptocurrency, it takes a lot of hardware, it takes a lot of electricity as well as energy, and that is the reason why it is very limited supply. Now moving on, we have to talk about the legal basis. In India, it is actually legal to buy, sell and to hold any kind of cryptocurrency, but it is not a legal tender in our country. Remember this fact. Nearly 30% of tax has been imposed on any kind of cryptocurrency profit, and 1% TDS on any kind of transaction is done in our country. And there is no any specific law yet. However, there are certain regulations. When we talk about RBI actually does not encourage cryptocurrency. Instead, it has created its own currency called digital rupee, CBDC. CBDC is again an important topic. We'll see it another day. and it has warned against the private cryptocurrency that is not authorized by any particular government. So these are all important facts that you have to remember from the cryptocurrency topic. Now, based on the things we have discussed, I have framed a prelims question for you. Let me read out the question. Here, two statements has been given. First statement says it is a type of decentralized digital currency regulated by government. Second statement says cryptocurrency in India is not recognized as a legal tender and it is not taxable. Here, even the first, in both the statements, first half is right, second half is wrong. So, what is the right answer here? Here, correct answer is option D, neither one nor two. With these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now, look at this news article. The news is that recently scientists has identified a particular day to have solar eclipse for a unusual duration. So, this particular day is nothing but August 2nd, 2027. So, from the prelims perspective, we have to learn about what is eclipse and what is the difference between solar eclipse and lunar eclipse, and we shall see certain facts that has been given in this particular news article. So, let us start with this solar eclipse. Here in this image, you can see the actual pictorial representation of how a solar eclipse looks like. A lot of people will have a confusion on what is the solar eclipse and lunar eclipse, and this is the basic thing on which UPSC will be asking questions. So, to remember this, you can have this basic understanding. During solar eclipse, the sun will be blocked by moon. So, moon will be in the middle. And the opposite happens during the lunar eclipse. The moon will be blocked and earth will be in the middle. So, here I have given the actual distinction between the two. We shall see them one by one. So, it occurs, the solar eclipse, it occurs when moon comes between earth and sun. So, this actually happens only during the new moon day. Remember that. And there are different types of solar eclipse. For example, total solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse, annular solar eclipse, and hybrid solar eclipse. So here comes the question, why this actually happens. See, this actually happens because when moon comes in between sun and earth, the apparent diameter of the moon will be actually equal or greater than sun's apparent diameter. So this is the only reason why the eclipse is actually happening. Now, talking about the duration limit, it can happen up to maximum of 7.5 minutes, but it is theoretical in nature. 6 minutes 23 seconds 6.5 seconds is something very rare. Now, moving on to lunar eclipse, it occurs when earth comes in between sun and moon, and there are different types, total, partial, and penumbral. Now, talking about the visibility, it is visible from entire night side of earth. Now, the cause of the eclipse is earth's shadow will be falling on the moon, and it can be seen with naked eye, and no eye protection is actually required. This will happen on any full moon or Purnima day. Now, moving on, here I have given certain eclipse related terms. For example, aphelion is nothing but the point where earth is farthest from sun. This happens during early July. Then there is perigee, which is moon's closest approach to earth. Remember these two important key terms. Apart from this, there is umbra, which is darkest part of a shadow. There is antumbra, which is region of annular eclipse, and that is part of totality. It is nothing but the narrow region where total solar eclipse is actually visible. Now, moving on, we have to talk about why this particular event, August 2nd, 2027, is very important. See, this will be the longest duration between 1991 and 2114. So it will be up to 6 minutes and 23 seconds, and that is why it is a very significant one. Now, here comes the question, why this particular unusual duration? This is because sun will be in the farthest region and moon will be in the closest region to earth. So this is the reason why both the diameters will equalize and leading to a larger duration of this particular solar eclipse. So based on the things we have discussed, I have framed a prelims practice question for you. Let me read out the question. Here two statements has been given. First statement says the duration of a total solar eclipse increases when the moon is near perigee and earth is near aphelion. Now, the second statement says during a solar eclipse, the moon's umbral shadow moves faster over the equator due to higher optical velocity at lower latitude. See, it might be sounding very technical, but very basic thing. Here, only the first statement is correct. The second statement is incorrect because the shadow will move slower. Only if the shadow is moving slower, the duration will be longer. So the second statement is incorrect. So here correct answer for the question is option A, one only. With these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this news article. According to the news article, with India's diplomatic and technology push, CBI-backed Interpol red notices has been doubled since 2023. See, this red notices is usually issued when a person does a crime inside a country and leaves the country. So the particular central agency, it will be issuing the notice to ask for the surrender of that particular person. So this particular red notice, it has been increased since 2023. This reflects proper coordination and cooperation between two agencies. So from the prelims perspective, we have to learn about what is the CBI. The expansion of CBI is Central Bureau of Investigation. It was established in 1963 through a resolution of the Ministry of Home Affairs. So it is not a statutory body. Remember this fact. It is based on Santanam Committee's recommendation, and it derives its power from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946, and it is the nodal police agency when it comes to Interpol. It even gets assistance from Central Vigilance Commission and even Lokpal. Now moving on, we have to talk about the administrative control. It works under Department of Personnel and Training, DOPT, which is under Ministry of Personnel, and it functions under Central Vigilance Commission when it comes to investigation of corruption. Now moving on, we have to see about the scope, or in which sector it is actually does the investigation. Firstly, the criminal investigation, which includes complex and serious crimes like corruption, economic offences, high profile murder, terrorism, and etc. Then anti-corruption investigations. There are a lot of economic offences wing. It can even probe into bank fraud, financial scams, and corporate crimes. Then special crimes like murder, kidnapping, and crimes against Penal Code when referred to it, and certain interstate and international crimes when asked to coordinate with Interpol. So those kinds of cases will also be taken care of by CBI. Now moving on, we have to talk about certain jurisdiction and power. It can take suo motu cases only in the case of union territory, but when it comes to any particular state, it has to get the consent of the state. But when Supreme Court orders to investigate in a particular case, it does not require the consent of the state. Now moving on, we have to talk about the staffing of CBI. It is usually done through appointments and promotions and even deputations. So when we talk about the director of CBI, he has a fixed tenure of 2 years. This is by CBC Act 2003. And this particular person, the director of CBI, will be selected by a selection committee comprising of Prime Minister. He will be the chairperson, leader of opposition from Lok Sabha, and Chief Justice of India, or a Supreme Court judge nominated by CJI. So with these learned points, now I have a prelims question for you to be solved. Let me read out the question. Who among the following is not part of CBI Director Selection Committee? So here the correct answer for the particular question is option D, Speaker of Lok Sabha. With these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this news article. This news article tries to answer the question, what is baby grok? So from the mains perspective, let us understand the key facts given in the article. Now talking about this particular announcement, the project Baby Grok, it has been given out by Elon Musk through his XAI. XAI is nothing but an artificial intelligence company owned by Elon Musk. So it has been announced on X platform, which is formerly Twitter, in 25 July. And the very purpose of this Baby Grok is to create a chatbot that is more child friendly. And it is actually a simplified version of XAI's flagship chatbot Grok. Now moving on, we have to see about the key features. As I said, the main intent of it is to design a chatbot to deliver kid-friendly, safe and education content to the kids. And it is intended to address concerns of unsafe or appropriate content in general purpose AI tools. So what is this general purpose AI? We'll be seeing that in a minute later. Now moving on, we have to say about Grok. Say Grok is similar to any kind of a chatbot like ChatGPT, Gemini or LLAMA. So it uses modes of interaction like deep search, think and big mind, and this will allow users to choose answer depth. And currently, based on this grok, a lot of modification has been done, especially not to give replies like anti-semitic replies. So those modification has been done, and they have released this new project called baby grok. Now moving on, we have to see about what is the actual definition of AI. See, according to Ministry of Information and Technology, artificial intelligence, AI, is nothing but the ability of a machine to mimic human cognitive functions such as learning, reasoning, and problem solving. Now, what are the types of AI? There are different types. Firstly, general AI. AI will be here. The AI will be trained for specific purposes. For example, chatbots, Siri, and recommendation engines. And that is general AI. These are hypothetical AI. They can think to the level of human level intelligence across multiple tasks. And that is super AI. It has not been created so far, but it will surpass the human cognitive ability itself. Now moving on, we have to see about core components of AI. First important core component is this machine learning. This is nothing but algorithms that learn from data patterns. So if you're for example, take a chatbot. You are giving some inputs to the chatbot, and it is trying to give a solution to that. So you are adding lot of scenarios to that particular question in the following prompts. So what happens the very next time when you enter similar situation, the chatbot will already be trained from the previous memory, and it will consider all the circumstances, and it will give an more effective and evaluated solution. So this is what is meant by machine learning. It will be learning your pattern, and based on that memory it will be giving you the exact result that you wanted. So there are supervised machine learning, there is unsupervised, as well as reinforced learning is there. And talking about the second important component, it is neural network. This will actually function like our brain. So similar to the neurons that is transmitting all the information and storing all the information, this will be inside the computers. This is key to deep learning. Now, the third important key component is natural language processing, NLP. This will process the language spoken by human being. Now, the fourth important is computer vision, the ability of the machine to interpret any kind of image or videos. And finally, ethics and alignment. So this is the very basic component of any kind of AI. It is nothing but designing safe, non-biased, value-aligned AI systems. Now moving on, we have to talk about key Indian development when it comes to AI. We have a national AI portal, indiaai.gov.in. It has been launched by Meiti 2020, and there is responsive AI strategy which emphasizes ethics, inclusion, and transparency. And finally, we are using education, AI even in education. For example, Niti Aayog has promoted AI-based learning tools which will be aligned with NEP 2020. So these are all very important facts that you have to remember about AI. With these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article. Now look at this news article. This news article talks about Indian provincial services. Now currently it is in news because the exact same day, 100 years ago, on 1925, July 20, there has been a debate on British Parliament stating that the members of Indian provincial services, especially the Europeans and British people, will not get any pension payments. So from the mains perspective, we have to learn about Indian provincial service. This can even be asked in the preliminary examination. So let us start with how the provincial administration in our country has actually developed. So it is actually a timeline from 1757 to 1858. The collectors, they managed revenue, judicial, as well as police powers. Cornwallis, he reformed separated functions. And from 1833 to 1857, there has been more centralized administration under Governor General, and there has been very limited provincial autonomy. So from 1858, after the revolt, to 1919, there was direct crown rule, we know that, where the provinces has been classified, and there is only limited legislative council introduced. So only few provinces had legislative councils. from 1919, where the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms happened. It led to the introduction of diarchy, where Indians will be controlling some subjects and British will be retaining the key departments, especially in the lower level, to be specific, the provincial level. From 1935, provincial autonomy has been granted and the elected provincial government has been established. So this was the evolution of the provincial administration in our country. So here comes the question: what is the status of Indian during this period? See, from the before the revolt of 1857, Indians has been excluded from most of the key roles, and they served only in the clerical and the subordinate positions. And from 1858 to 1909, after the outrage of the particular revolt, there has been limited entry of Indians has been allowed into the Indian civil services, and few has been succeeded due to exams in London. And from 1909 to 1919, Indians has been appointed in minor roles and legislative representation has been begun. 1919 to 1935, diarchy gave Indians limited ministerial responsibility. After that, from 1935 to 47, full autonomy has been given to the provincial services, and Indian became chief minister and gained a real administrative experience. So here there has been lot of challenges when it comes to provincial administration. Let us see them one by one. The first one is the central control. So the key decisions that has been taken only by the British administration, even before the crown rule as well, and even after the crown rule. No major provinces has been participated in the decision making process. Secondly, there was huge amount of racial discrimination, that is unequal promotions, pension delays, and even institutional bias that has been prevailed in the provincial administration. Thirdly, financial dependence. Only limited provincial revenue authority has been awarded. So even if they have power, they don't have the money to implement the power. Then there is diarchy confusion. Priorly in 1919, when the diarchy came in, it has divided control. This has caused a lot of inefficiency and poor coordination. Later in 1935, it has been transferred to the central government by giving total relief to the provincial system. And there is weak accountability. Offices answered to British superior and not to the locals. So this lacked accountability, and there is bureaucratic rigidity. There is strict procedures. This is hindering lot of local problem solving, and there are a lot of uneven development. Major provinces prioritized over the smaller ones. So these are all very important challenges in the provincial administration. Now moving on, we have to talk about how this evolution has actually contributed to our present day. It has led to a lot of changes in our administrative structure. We have a district level role like collector and SP, they still exist. Then bureaucratic system, rule based hierarchy continues in IAS, Indian Administrative Service. Then there is legislative base, the root of current state assemblies. So the roots of current state assemblies, it is actually in 1919 and 1935 acts. So it is a very important thing. Then there is civil services legacy. ICS has been evolved into IAS, IPS and other state services, and legal revenue system has been introduced. This continued use of codified laws and land records. And finally, there is leadership training. Indian ministers gained experience after pre-1947. So these are all very important facts that you have to remember about provincial administration. Now, based on things we have discussed, I have framed a mains question for you. Let me read out the question. The influences on Indian administration can be traced beyond space and time. In this context, discuss the contribution of British towards development of provincial administration in India. So it is actually a 10-marker question, and you can write an answer and post it in the comment section for 150 words so that we can review your answer as well as your peers can review it. So with this, we came to the end of the news article discussion. If you like the video, hit like, do comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Now, thank you so much for listening.